anyway, I had to go to county lockup 30 days, and I got out, and my friends, like any good military friend should do, said, "Do you want to like pay rent or get food?" No, let's throw a party and invite whores and have a gangbang. All right, so it's recording, and like I said, we just hop right into it, and then we edit all that shit later on. So doing the intro, we're just like, "Hey man, I'm here with Jeremy from Deathwish, who, by the
What's
way,
going on?
he's my second favorite Ranger after Tom Hanks." Dude, I've been waiting for like a month to use that joke.
I know, man. We keep pushing this along.
But no, dude, I mean, absolutely, thanks for giving us your time and stuff like that. Obviously, we try to use the platform and promote guys that are doing awesome shit, but, obviously, we love it when guys give us their time, and we understand that your fucking time is valuable.
Oh, yeah.
So let's just start at the beginning. What got you into, we usually ask dudes, like, what got you into motorcycles? Everybody's backstory is a little bit different. Like, did your dad not love you? Like what?
A little bit of that. Man, I've been riding motorcycles since I got my first dirt bike when I was like 5 or 6 years old, man. I don't know if you remember, like back in the day before fucking Craigslist, all that, the classifieds in the paper. I remember we went and like picked up this dirt bike, like this Kawasaki 60 or Honda Yamaha 65 for like $50. Shit didn't run, went and put a new spark plug in, rode the piss out of that for years, man. And then just, that's where my love grew with two wheels. Started there.
And you still ride dirt bikes, right?
Huh?
You still ride dirt bikes, right?
I don't have one right now, but I mean, I got my son into it and shit, but I'm trying to get back into it.
And so, like, did you just kind of start tinkering on them and fucking around with them yourself and figure it out from there? Or?
Yeah, it's funny as I was talking to Jose about that the other day, because I went to school for it after I got out of the Army. But I'm like, man, you fucking learn so much more just breaking your own shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Nothing teaches you more than like just fucking beating the hell out of it and always repairing shit and learning the hard way, thinking you fix it and then end up fucking it up and have to do it again and shit,
Well, I feel like that's like synonymous with like any school you go to in the Army. You get to your unit and you're like, dude, I remember how to do this shit from school. And they're like, yeah, and we're gonna do it this way instead. Don't worry about it. So, you're kind of have you always been an East Coast guy? For those that don't know, Deathwish, you guys are on the East Coast. Have you always been an East Coast kid?
So I was actually born in VA. I grew up in Missouri. Went to school out there. I joined my family's all Navy. So my mom remarried and I went out there when I was a kid growing up. I used to come to Virginia back twice a year and shit. But East Coast Virginia is always home to me. So kind of when I started Deathwish, it was with some of the buddies in Virginia and shit. So Virginia's kind of home.
Yeah.
North Carolina was a staple, even though I'm more back in Virginia now or whatever. But VA will always be the home with Deathwish.
Are you happy to be back in VA?
Oh yeah, man. It's I ain't been back here since 2006. So a lot has changed and shit. And then jumped around the Army and fucking living in damn Harnett County in North Carolina, podunk nowhere. Like, it's a change of pace again, but I'm excited to be back. The scene here is a lot bigger, a lot more people ride and be able to get involved with a lot more bike nights and shit like we used to do around down North Carolina. So that'll be good.
Yeah. And we're kind of jumping around, but, you brought up a good point. Like I tell people, I spent 3 years in Virginia. I was on a ship before I joined the Army. I was on the USS Saipan out of Norfolk, and you're right, Norfolk, Virginia Beach, all that area has changed so much, but there's so much great riding. I hear military guys that are stationed in Virginia, or like, and I go back and visit and stuff like that. My son lives in Virginia Beach. Dudes complain about the traffic, the tunnel, Hampton Roads traffic, whatever. But if you get outside of that, there's just awesome fucking riding. And even like you mentioned, like if you come down, to somewhere like the beach area, you go to Norfolk or whatever, there's awesome places just to grab a drink with dudes or to have a bike night or do all that.
I mean, shit. It's good riding around here. Like city riding don't bother me, man. Like, when we go up to New York and mob up there, like it's fun fucking split lanes and mobbing and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, but here, you got fucking Pungo and shit like that. So it's not too far where you can get out and still enjoy some back roads and some nice scenery and shit like that.
Yeah. And I also like, if you've never gotten out before, like get down into North Carolina, you can take, what is that? 17 that runs all the way down to Florida if you wanted to. And
yeah,
really,
that's
you
a
could
good,
be having
that
a
like to
long
get to
weekend.
Bragg area. If you hit like go down 13 and then cross over 64 Rocky Mount, like that's a really good ride right there. You get to go through like the swamps and shit like that. So nice little scenery.
Yeah, and so you mentioned, family, Navy, and stuff like that. So how did you end up in the Army?
Actually, man, it's funny. So I don't know if you ever heard of, well, before then, so my whole family was Navy or whatever, and I went to a Navy recruiter, and I got turned down because I used to have gauged ears, and they said it was self mutilation and shit. So
When was this?
that was like 2005, maybe 2004.
Because I feel like right around like 06, 07, like retention was so low. They were like, "Fuck it, can you walk? Come on."
Yeah, I mean, it's probably because I scored so bad on my ASVAB. Probably like, shit. Fucking phone went down. Yeah, but they said it fucking self mutilation or whatever, and I kind of didn't really want to join anyways. But then I fucking ended up joining Job Corps, and that was a fucking mistake, dude. That's like fucking jail and high school mixed together. Like I was up in the mountains of Virginia with like fucking dudes from DC. The
No,
hell
your
out of
audio.
here.
I think your audio cut out. Your audio cut out on us when you're talking about being up there in DC. Can you hear me?
Yep. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no. So your audio cut out. You're talking about Job Corps. You're up in the mountains with some dudes from DC, and you're like, were you 18 at the time?
Yeah, I was like 17, 18. And, or yeah, I had to be 18 because I joined the Army. And it was just fucking, that shit was so hood and shit. So I was like, fuck this. And some Army recruiters, they're like, yeah, man, we'll get you $20,000. You'll be stationed back in Virginia Beach. I'm like, hell yeah, dude, let's do it. Next thing I know, I'm in fucking Iraq and shit, so.
That's how they got me. I was on the ship, and I had a 4-year contract, 4-year enlistment. But at the time, because retention was so low for the Army, they had this blue to green program. And
Yeah.
like, we'll give you, if you go infantry, we'll give you 20 grand, and like you can go to the 101st or some wild shit like that. And then like by the time you sign it and you read the fine print, it's like 20 grand, but it's spread out over like 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's taxed at like 30% or 40%. You end up getting like an extra $2,000 a year.
Yeah. Tax the hell out of you.
And then I ended up doing my entire time in Germany. But I had a great time in Germany.
See, that's one thing I always regret, man. I always wanted to get stationed in Germany, but like, even though you try to like change your ways when you join the military, I'm like, dude, if I go to Germany, like I would have been kicked out of the Army so fucking quick.
But so for those, you ended up going to were you at Benning with the 75th with the
What's that?
And then you spent your entire time at Benning?
No, I was at import. I did 2 deployments in Big Army, and then I put in. I tried to re-enlist for regiment, and then I came down in orders for Lewis. It was actually pretty dope. While I was out at Lewis, I deployed to Australia, and while I was in Australia, they hit me orders to go to airborne and RASP. So then that was like 2009, around that time, 10. And then ended up going to regiment and spent some time there.
What if you want to answer, you can. What drew you to it? What made you want to do that route?
Well, I'm a support guy, man, and fucking so I went to selection. So when I got back from Australia, I actually got in a really bad motorcycle accident. I was riding with a certain group of people, and next thing I know, I woke up in a fucking hospital, had a punctured lung, had my jaw wired shut for like fucking 2 months. And I healed up pretty quick, and then I went to selection, and I was a non-select, and so that time I was like, "Fuck this, man! Like I'm going to regiment, because the quality of fucking people there too, you know what I mean? Like people that want to be there, you know what I mean? Like people that you know how it is in the military. There's so many fucking people that it's like a welfare program, they're there to get a check and shit, and just being around quality people and that's one good cool thing about regiment. It's like I got a lot of buddies who are entrepreneurs now, that I was stationed with there in my platoon, like just different businesses. And it just shows the mentality of dudes that, are driven to the special ops or, the high speed units and shit, that they're driven inside and out too. So it's pretty dope.
And I think you're spot on there when you said that earlier. about it, kind of like a welfare check for, people I don't understand that maybe never served. There's some fucking losers in the military.
Yeah, there is.
I don't know if like regular everyday folks just think everybody comes out of a Toby Keith song or what the fuck, but I served with some dipshits, and you're just
what's funny is every time you say that, man, my first unit, I was at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and after fucking PT every day, they played that goddamn Toby Keith song all over posts, and it was so fucking brutal.
And I don't know. I'm sure it was probably different. Like, I don't know when your parents were in the Navy or whatever, but if they ever had anything to do with Navy boot camp. But when I went through in 04, every graduating class listens to, they play Lee Greenwood, God Bless the USA, while you graduate. And I just remember like the amount of people. So you're in a room with all these different, they call them ships, and you're in this graduating area with all these different ships and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I remember like dudes standing in formation that were literally like crying, like listening to this song and like saluting in their Navy uniforms and all this shit. And I was like, I think like all the normal people were like, so when can we go to Chicago and go to the massage parlors? And these dudes are like crying to Lee Greenwood. Oh man.
Where did you go for the Navy basic or whatever?
Great Lakes is in it's just like north of Chicago.
Oh, Chicago. Okay, yeah.
So So, you did the stuff, you did your Army time, you went to regiment. Were you thinking, you mentioned that entrepreneur mindset and stuff like that, were like being around these guys getting you hyped for doing something, or did you kind of already know that you were going to start?
Yeah. So actually, when I was at regiment, at that time, this was fucking like 2012, 2013, around that time, there really wasn't the brands that there are now, and the ones that were, I just weren't aware of it. The only one I think at that time, like Dixon was just first standing up and shit. And it was more of the sense, like before the dynasty and all that, but like, I just felt like there was nothing for the younger, like dudes like us, you know what I mean? So I actually struggled with a fucking name forever. Like for a couple of years, we just played with the name back and forth. And then finally just Deathwish Motor-Culture, went with that. And then, at that time, I had already PCS up to Bragg. We were living on Linden Oaks, the on-base housing and shit. And I had a fucking vinyl cutter and shit, just cutting off fucking sheets in my fucking kitchen and shit. Me and my wife were just fucking pressing out shirts and shit, to start off. So.
And so, how long have you been doing this for? Since what did you say, 2000 and what?
16. August 1st is like our official date, 5 years. So we just had our big 5-year anniversary before I left down in Carolina at the bar down there.
So something that we've talked about with Mercenary before, and I always love to hear other dudes' thoughts on it. He talks about a couple of the Mercenary guys. They talk about interactions with clubs because you have clothing, you have motorcycles. You're gonna run into club dudes, and we talk about the different dynamics. And sometimes they get shit from club guys that don't understand, or sometimes club dudes love it. Have you had the same experiences? I mean, obviously we're kind of a club focused page or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, so when I first started, it was Deathwish Motor-Culture, and I used Deathwish MC as abbreviation, and like I knew that doing that would ruffle some feathers. Not that's why I intentionally did it. And I got friends in a lot of clubs. I was in a club for a while, and that's just not my scene, but like it just rubbed some people the wrong way, man, and we got some I guess not, I would never say an altercation or anything like that, but like just people question about what we're doing. Because when we first started, like we had a ride at my brother's house, and it was we had like 80 fucking bikes, like not even a month in and shit. Like everybody's questioning shit. And like, bro, we're just a clothing brand. Like I go out Thanksgiving and shit. Hook homeless up with fucking gift packs with fucking booze and cigarettes and shit. Like we're just out here having a good fucking time, man. There's no need to fucking with the club scene to fucking have any ill feelings with a clothing brand. Like,
and that's something
just everyone out here having fun, man. And I think people lose sight of the big picture of that, man. And it's a lot of like, especially like not even 1%ers, just even military clubs, man. Like, you know what I'm saying, bro? Like you're doing something in midlife crisis and shit. You know what I mean? Buy this fucking $30,000 bike, bro. Like it's more than that, man. Some people just been doing this their whole life, and there's nothing to get upset about,
So I'd like to say, first of all, my wife bought me the $30,000 bike, so let's calm down. But no, I think you're 100% right, and you know, Josh has talked about it before, where you know the interactions I think with club dudes, where you know, okay, like you said, you had that MC on there kind of just to fuck with people a little bit, right? But we've always talked about here, you know, on the podcast, like if you're that club dude, just go up there and talk to him and be like, "Hey, man, what is this?" Like, oh, it's a t-shirt company. It's Vets. It's whatever the fuck it is. And all of a sudden, you know, now you've got a group of dudes that love this culture that maybe now they want to hang around your club, or they want to invite you to shit too, or they're friendly with the club now because you made that good first impression. But if you go up there and mean mug everybody, or like, "Hey, man, what the fuck is this t-shirt bullshit?" That's all Tammy's gonna remember.
That's the thing. You hit that spot on, man. And that's my biggest thing, man. Like, you know, my friends that might listen to this later, they're going to be like, God damn, so true. But like, I hold a lot like near and dear to my heart more than I should, like loyalty, respect type shit. But it's the same token of, you know, you walk up in and, you know, you're trying to just put this demeanor on yourself, you know what I mean? The stature or whatever. Like, bro, you got to give respect to earn respect. You know what I mean? And like, that's all of us. Not if you're in a club, or not if you're a clothing brand. Like, every time you throw your leg over that bike, you know what I mean? We're all doing the same fucking thing.
What you know, and we don't have to get into specifics, but what kind of soured you on being in a club?
I'm sorry.
Well, you know, you don't have to get into specifics or anything like that, but what kind of like soured you on being in a club?
Well, the club I was in, I'm not gonna say their name, or it was a military club, but it just, to me, man, it was, you know, like I said earlier, it was more of, I felt like the masses of the people was doing something out of a spontaneous thing more than that was their passion. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so for me, that's, you know what I mean? Like, I joke about this all the time, but like, I don't have to pay for my friends, you know what I mean? Type thing. Like, I'm not going to pay dues when half y'all don't even show up and ride. You know what I mean? Like, in that sense, that club, you know what I mean? Not saying every club's like that.
Yeah.
But like, that's, for me, that's what it was. You know, it's just, I like to go where I go, travel the country, do shows and shit. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't want to be told, hey, I can't do this because of whatever. You know what I mean? Like, just not my thing.
And I think you bring up two really great points. Is that number one? I think from a military aspect, being a military guy too, you know, we look for identity, because like the one thing the military does really well is give you an identity. You're a ranger. You're in this uniform. You're airborne. Whatever the fuck it is, and then you get out and you're like, okay, am I a club guy? Am I a hiker? Am I a dad? Like, what, you know, am I all of these things? Like what am I? And I think for some military dudes, like you said, they latch onto that club shit, even though it's probably not right for them. And it just sucks. And then dudes like you are like, what do you kind of fucking.
And that's one thing, though, that I feel like the prospect phase of that shit, you know what I mean? Like, you know, a lot of guys would be like, man, I'm not fucking standing there watching somebody's bike. You know what I mean? Like, but at the same token, being a military guy, I'm like, you got to earn your right. You know what I mean? Like, I respect that part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's with like even military schools, you're still going to have those that slide through the cracks and shit that check the blocks, you know? So.
Oh, it's like military leadership too. I think, you know, you can stand there and watch the bikes, but are you also being taught something about why it's important, or just, you know, like you said, earning your keep, or are those senior guys, those patch members, just constantly shitting on you?
Yeah.
You can harass me, but what's the lesson in it? And I think, you know, that's something that some clubs they lose out on.
Yep.
So one other thing you brought up, the homeless stuff. I love that you posted it on the IG. You don't advertise it a whole lot, but for folks that don't know, is that something you're going to be doing in Virginia Beach? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to do it this year here, but you know, I just recently moved, and it's so fucking cold around that time to fucking, you know, ride up here with all that shit. But I've been doing it for the past 4 years probably. And this year is the first time we ever really posted anything about it. And I just did on my personal. I never really did anything on the actual Deathwish page. But I don't know, man. I just feel like fucking when you have the ability to that, you know what I mean? Just fucking, I put a Deathwish shirt in there, some little fucking bottle of gin, some cigarettes and shit, give them some snacks or whatever, and just go around and just, you know, show the community fucking, you know, we're not just out here fucking ripping up the streets and being fucking assholes. You know, we're fucking trying to be decent human beings at some point.
Yeah, and I think it's like you said, you weren't really posting it or assigning it a Death Wish thing, but I think it's also cool that if you decide to go that route, that people know, hey, look at this company, like it's called Death Wish, and
Yeah.
maybe that's not very Lee Greenwood for some people, but
Well,
it's like you said,
that's what
it's
we used to do. So me and my wife, we had actually owned a bar down in North Carolina, and we were partners with another person, but we sold out right before COVID hit, which was a blessing. But we used to have, that's where we did all our bike nights down there and all that stuff previously. I mean, we would do school supply drives, like bring in a backpack or, school supplies, you get fucking free raffle tickets. We did a lot of toy drives and shit like that. Like we helped out the Infidels Motorcycle Club down there a lot. They had a couple down riders. We helped raise money for them and other certain clubs in the area that had, shit go on. So I just feel like using that, using that platform to do something, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's not all fucking just being a cool guy on Instagram and shit. You know what I mean? You gotta, even though you're a piece of shit, you gotta somewhat be decent.
Yeah, and like I said, you can build up that following. Guys that have thousands and thousands of followers on Instagram by doing hood rat shit. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But then if you're combining that with the fact that, hey, look, man, we're giving back to down riders, we're giving back to vets, we're handing out to the homeless. I mean, it elevates it.
Yeah. I feel, I guess, not to keep ranting on that, it's just more of a, I don't know, just, a lot of people get fucking caught up on the social media, and especially like in our community, you know what I mean? Like, it's a small community, but it's a big community too. You know what I mean? It's more about fucking having a dope ass paint job and doing some wheelies or what, you know what I mean? Going to all the events and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think if you had your ass hanging out more, though, you might be doing better. Because I saw this thing, and I'm not taking anything away from her skills, but there is this girl, I can't think of her name. She's a great stunt rider, stunt sport bike. She got a thing for making a million followers. And then you look at Sit Down Steve. Sit Down Steve has been stunting for a long time, sport bikes, all that stuff. I think he's got like 150 or 200,000 followers. Like he's got like a quarter of what she has because she does it in bikinis.
Oh yeah. Well, that's like when the dyno scene first, like before, like, I mean, it was always big in Cali and shit, but like when we first started, it's actually funny is, so our homies in Detroit who were, I mean, they're family now, but like who are my sponsored riders, whatever. We linked up through Instagram. But originally I hit up Holden Pruitt and I was like, hey man, I started this business, I'll throw you some free swag or whatever. And he had deals already with Dixon and he was doing some things with Unknown at that time, I think. But he plugged me in with our buddy Josh and they went to MMI together. And he's like, these dudes just, started the shit. And so like he plugged us in, we're out doing shows and shit. And that time, like, dudes didn't give a fuck if you did like a fucking 3-foot wheelie and shit. You know what I mean? Like everybody's so fucking hyped and shit. Like, but I'm saying in that sense though, you know what I mean? Like there's so many guys that early on then that, you know what I mean? Like they have no fucking followers and shit, but you got, out there with some ass and titties and shit. Fucking
ass and titties sell everything. But you're right. I think social media is great and it sucks all at the same fucking time. It gives guys a platform who maybe they don't need a fucking platform. But, you look at some of these different companies that are coming together and like, you have smaller companies, entrepreneurs that are building shit or doing shit or making T-shirts or clothing, whatever. You make custom. Are the custom vests coming back? Are the motorcycle vests coming back?
Oh yeah, we're gonna do some more. So I've been doing Deathwish full time since I got in the military, but moving back up here, I'm starting a job up at the shipyard. But I don't know, not to put my shit out there like that, but I'm trying to use that as a stage to build up, and then hopefully within the next year, I'll have a storefront somewhere in downtown Norfolk or Virginia Beach, and just go full blown like that.
And that's fucking bad. I was going to ask you kind of like, what are the 2022 and beyond plans? We'll stick with the storefront. Is this kind of a thing where you'd be able to like have rides stage out of or bike nights? Or...
Well, so I was actually I had one before all this COVID shit down in Carolina, and it turned out to be a blessing. But I think I'm going to switch Deathwish up. I'm going to do more just Deathwish culture. And I want to do like, my son, he's real big into like the fucking scooters and BMX and all that shit. So, bring a little bit of that in, do a little bit of motocross and shit. You know what I mean? Just kind of like the shop itself, kind of like not on the echelon of San Diego customers or anything like that. But, just have a couple bikes in there that we build. So, have some dirt bikes in there, have a little fucking skateboard setup deal. You know what I mean? Like, kind of brighten up, you know what I mean, to hit a lot of aspects and shit. So
yeah, I think that'll be badass, and I hope it works out and everything goes well. As far as like what you have right now with the website and everything like that, what are we looking at for 2022? Is there like going to be new stuff coming out or?
Yeah, I mean, I've got right now. I mean, I just dropped a bunch of new shit before when I just stood back up. Hopefully, in the next week or two, we'll be back up. But I got a few more things coming out, some new jackets and shit. Working on some vests, some more hoodies, some more hats and shit. So get probably more of a spring line, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. And so now so I know some guys they order that shit and they get it from like another supplier. Other guys, they make it like in their house or, they work with a screen printer or whatever. Kind of you homegrown or so you shopping for something new in Virginia Beach or?
Yeah, I will be. So like I said, originally I was doing everything myself. I've went back and forth with different processes of it.
Yeah.
I have a few things that I still do myself. But yeah, I'm just trying to completely outsource everything. It just makes my life get easier. People like I get behind sometimes on some shit, especially the holidays or whatever, and I always do everything right to make up for it. But yeah, I'm a one-man show, and people don't realize that, like
Dude,
it gets tough.
I wonder sometimes, like being an entrepreneur, being these guys that run these small businesses, these mom and pop shops or one-man deals, the kind of the dumb shit, man, that must come through on customer service emails sometimes. like I ordered my shit yesterday. Can you tell me where it is?
And I try to put my customer service face on, and I always give, hook people up and whatever, if there's any wrongdoing or whatever. But just to mitigate all that, it'd be easier for everybody involved when I just completely outsource, so.
Yeah. Or for people that have some fucking patience, like either or. So we were talking a little bit on the phone, doing some texting. Is there going to be a party this year for Deathwish? Is that something you're looking at putting on? Do you have?
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to get in the works right now. It's not official yet because I'm still trying to work a venue. More than likely, it's going to be Virginia Beach, but I'm aiming for sometime in May. Don't want to give any kind of spoilers or anything like that, but I got a pretty big name artist that's going to come out. That's agreed that we've already worked out deals with. A musician that's big in the motorcycle community. He's going to come out.
Is it Five Finger Death Punch?
They were my number one choice, but yeah. But yeah, we got that going on. I want to try to bring in a bunch of big names and kind of help put Virginia back on, or not back on, but put on the map with shit on the East Coast, and get some big events going down here and shit.
Yeah, because I mean, really, you have like Outer Banks Bike Week and Virginia Beach and stuff like that. But it's not. I remember in like 04, 05, like they had some rallies that were a big deal. Like a lot of dudes, showed up for it. And I feel like it kind of. I don't know if it got splintered into smaller shit or whatever, or just different groups, but it's not as big as it once was. So I think, especially with you guys having that appeal to a little bit of everybody. Like I said, there's military guys, there's Dyna Bros, there's performance bagger dudes, there's the chopper culture, hot rod culture, whatever. Like all these things really seem to connect with Deathwish. I think it'd be a really badass show to have put back on anywhere.
Hell yeah. And that's another cool thing is I don't know if you're familiar with Smokeout. But we used to do all the shows at Smokeout for the past 3 years. Before last year was they didn't have one, but they're doing another one now. The Edge, who owns it, he's coming back out. They're moving back out by Charlotte over there, Salisbury. So I think it's September. But yeah, that's a big one to hit. Like that's always been my favorite of any event ever. Smokeout's just there's nothing like.
Now, will the Virginia one, will that be like 1 day, a couple days?
Yeah, it'll just be a 1 day thing. So I would like to, we were supposed to do a camp out style thing, and we're still in the works, but eventually turn it into something like that. Do like either a camp out or have it at like a campground type shit, So have some vendors sit up there, do some rides, Yeah,
and I feel like May's a good time in Virginia. Like it's not
too
hot.
There's so many fucking events already going on, shit, that people are loyal to. So you got to kind of make it in a time. Nobody really wants to ride when it's fucking cold or raining and shit. So
no, that is true. But
even though all of our events are always somehow happen to be fucking in the rain, but we make it work.
Dude, I'm convinced that the dude Josh rides with has some of the worst fucking luck. Like every time they're talking about it in that group chat, it's like, oh yeah, man, I got rained on. I'm never riding with you guys again. Like, what the fuck?
Yep. Yeah, we had when we used to do our annual event at the bar that we had, we used to get fucking the first like 2 years it was just always rain. Fucking we did one of the stunt shows they did in the rain. I don't know how they fucking did it because there's no way that I could get a damn wheel up in the rain, but they still was able to put on a show.
So do you have a favorite aspect? I mean, is it lane splitting and mobbing? Is it stunts? Is it long distance riding and sightseeing and shit? Like what gets you hard?
I love it all, man. To be honest with you, I mean, I know that's cliche or whatever, but I mean, it just depends. Like, I mean, I like country roads riding shit. Like, I mean, I love riding a pack, period. But like that style ride, I like riding by myself, digging deep and shit like that. But like, I love fucking riding in like New York or the city on the interstate with your fucking homies and just mobbing, splitting lanes. Like, yeah. I don't know. I guess it's just one of those things when you're fucking, going 100 plus and shit, like splitting lanes, adrenaline shit. That's what.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think it's different. Like you said, like doing it with your buddies and your homies is one thing. Like I hate club pack riding with people like other clubs or people you don't know that well or other chapters from out of state. Like I don't know how you ride, dude, and all of a sudden you're gonna be locking up your brakes in front of me or some shit like that. I hate pack riding in that sense. Like I was like, dude, I just want to do thing.
Well, that's the thing.
Like, I'm gonna get judgy. You're gonna ride, man. You like that guy could be a phenomenal rider.
You guys got to make sure you give him the lane, man.
And what's so North Carolina, back in Virginia, all that shit. What's your favorite ride? Your favorite area?
Well, down in Carolina, there's it's called McDougal Road. It's like really fucking windy, man. And there's about a quarter-mile turn that's just deep digging. Like that's one of my favorite roads to ride. Comes into NC 42, which is a really fucking great ride. But it's a tie between that and just mobbing in New York City, man. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, man. Just every time we're up there for any hilarious shit, and I'm riding. Like this year, I had to borrow my brother's fucking bike because my shit broke down on the way. But mobbing the city is there's just nothing like it, man. And it's crazy because it's crazy, man, because the fucking like the cops let you do what you want. The cars don't fuck with you. Like it's almost like you own the road up there, man. It's crazy.
I'm sure they probably got bigger shit to worry about or whatever. Exactly. Like, hey, man, if this biker's splitting lanes at 100 miles an hour, it'll correct itself if it fucks up. But yeah, I've always heard that New York City is amazing on a motorcycle. Like, it's crazy, it's fun, it sucks all at the same time, but it's like just an epic experience to just do it and see, what is it, the Brooklyn Bridge and what's the George Washington Bridge or whatever.
I actually broke down the George Washington the first year. My fucking battery fried and I had to push it in oncoming traffic and everybody's like honking at me and shit. I'm like, bitch, you think I wanted to break down on this fucking bridge, man? You're like, you fucking asshole. I'm like, God damn, man, you can't make me feel any worse.
Yeah. I drive by yelling, like, get on the side of the road. Like, I am.
Yeah. And all my buddies are mad at me and shit because they're sitting there. We're supposed to be Andy and Larry and I'm fucking pouring sweat trying to fucking get my bike running. Yeah, it was a fucking disaster.
Oh yeah, but yeah, everybody always has like these great stories about riding New York City, and it's like here by us. I'm from Wisconsin. We have like Milwaukee, which is probably 1/20th the size of New York City. But again, it's kind of that same feel as New York City. It's a port. It's a port. It's on a river. It's an old industrial kind of town, so it's got that same thing, the old buildings and all that shit. And I just love riding that. We're getting a chance to, like I said, that Highway 17, like you come through North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and down into Florida and shit like that. Like I love those back roads, like that shit.
I think that's part of the fun of like going to New York, just fucking taking the back roads, riding up there. And then after you've been riding for fucking, 10, 12 hours, then you just see the fucking city, the skyline and shit. You're like, holy shit.
And the gas station stops. Like I feel like it just like the gas station stops. You get out, you get a Red Bull, you get a beer, you get whatever, and you just chill for a minute. Like that's the best shit. Like you just energize.
I'm a fucking Nazi on road trips, man. I'm like gas and go, bro. We ain't got time for this shit.
I mean, you can't like.
Everybody gets mad at me. Like,
take a nap.
I need a fucking. Huh?
Yeah, like maybe don't fall asleep at every gas station, but I want to like grab like I want to grab my White Claw,
That's
or my
like
Red
we
Bull
went
or
to New York,
something.
our fucking Zach and our buddy Sean, they're pissed. I'm like, come on, man, get on the fucking bikes, let's go. They're like, God damn, man, we can't even have a fucking Red Bull. I'm like, nah, man, we got to go.
You just drink it on the road, bro. Let's go.
Yeah.
So
meanwhile, I'm on the fucking bagger, brand new bagger and shit, cruise control. You know what I mean? They're on the dynas, their fucking asses are chapped and shit.
did you work Indian Larry's? Did you just go up there to cruise around? Did you have a booth set up?
No, man, Indian Larry's one of the events that I would rather hang out, man. You know, like, because one thing, man, like, you know, a lot of the events that we've done and different rallies and shit, man, like, just, you know, you're always fucking working and shit, you know? So
Yeah.
Indian Larry, so many people that I've met through Instagram and shit like that. It's just cool to go up there and, you know, just hang out with some people that you've been fucking Instagram friends with for fucking 3 years and shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and so that's kind of my follow-up question to that was just like, so what are some events that you have calendar written down already in places people can find Deathwish in person this year?
Yeah, I don't have everything yet down, but I mean, some of the biggest things that we do, definitely Indian Larry. I would like to make an appearance at Daytona this year for sure. Then you know, Smokeout obviously, and then out in, I don't know if you're familiar with our buddies out in Detroit, Clem Speed Shop. They have their thing every year in June, beginning of June. And then the FXR Jam. They used to do it at Maggie Valley, which was so fucking dope, man.
Maggie Valley,
they did it like old hotel and then just go out and fucking ride in the mountains. They've moved it up to like, huh?
I say it's that old hotel that's right outside. It's right by that museum, right? That Dale's.
Yeah. Well, they switched it now. They got it up in New York now. But I think that's like the second week of June.
Yeah, I don't know. I love that. That Maggie Valley is just such an amazing starting point to start riding and like those old hotels like there, just kind of like something you'd see in like the old movies and everything else.
Oh yeah.
The rooms are, I mean, unless it's like, as long as it's like an off weekend, the rooms are cheap and shit like that. And then you get the Wheels Through Time Museum right there and stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
So No Shame just joined us too. He's like our good producer, recorder dude. But
what's going on, man?
So you were just hunting on Fort Lewis. And
what's up? I didn't hear anything.
Why are you yelling at me, bro? Calm down.
Hey, wait, is it loud? Is it loud?
No, it's good. It's good. I'm just fucking with you. But you were hunting on Fort Lewis, so do you still smell like doe piss or duck piss or whatever?
Oh, you don't use duck piss, but it probably smell like some fucking shitty still TA2 training area water.
So Jeremy, you were stationed at Fort Lewis for a little bit, right?
Yeah, it's I was still in Big Army, but I was over there right before I went to regiment. Yep.
And then that's far down.
That's where I got my fucking motorcycle accident when I punctured my lung and goddamn my jaw was wired shut for months. Right there on Lakeside, Lakewood or whatever it's called.
Oh, Lakewood.
Or whatever on the backside coming in right there. I went off in that fucking creek.
Oh, up like north of North Fort.
Yeah, right over there, that area. The Stellacom and all that shit back there.
Yep. Damn, you went in the water over there?
Huh?
You went in the water over there?
Yeah, man. I don't really know what happened, man. I wasn't fucked up, but like I don't know if these fucking dudes drugged me or what, man. But like I don't remember anything for like hours. And next thing I know, I fucking woke up in the hospital, and fucking my bike was totaled, and they found me in a fucking creek bed, and I had a money clip, and everything was gone. My fucking Vans are gone. Oh shit. The suspense. They just took my fucking military ID and like stuck it in my vest. That's the only thing they found and shit. So I beat a DUI.
Wait a minute. Hang on. If I'm understanding this correctly, whoever you were riding with after you wrecked, and they possibly may have tried to have sex with your booty hole by drugging you, but they robbed you and left you in the creek?
Yeah, man. Fucking. I was found in a fucking creek bed. My van. Like I was pissed. They stole my Vans, dude. Like when you took my Vans, they were dusty.
Dude, who steals somebody's shoes after they fucking wrecked their bike?
Yeah.
He's like in a creek. You're like, no, dude, those shoes, they'll dry
out. But
I
mean, at the end of the day, though, I should be thanking them because I beat a DUI. They're like, oh, he was a victim. I'm like, yeah, I was victimized. And so yeah, I beat a DUI.
I mean, that's a positive spin on it, but I mean, I guess at least they like in case you were like face down in the water, at least they turned you upright and put your ID.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they were somewhat decent human beings.
I feel like when we first told this story, you left all the good shit out of it.
Right? Yeah, I was listening the whole time. I didn't hear any of that. You gotta give the juicy details, man. That's what we thrive off of.
Yeah. He's like, I got to be careful, man. I can't incriminate myself too fucking much, you know?
No, we're incriminating them. Like, you stole that man's shoes, all right? If you're listening, give him the fuck back. I don't care how long ago that was. Mail him back.
And you know what's so funny is I got the fucking – so I just came back from Australia, and I had my fucking bike in storage, and I pulled my bike out of storage. That was the last thing I remembered. And before then, I was going to put my bike in his garage because I was going to leave. And so, like, this was years and years and years ago, like 2009 or whatever. When I was moving, I found this old phone in my tough box, and I was going to, like, get it to my daughter, and I plugged it in, and I found the dude's number in my phone, and I was like, man, I should text this dude.
You just text him a picture of the shoes you had on that day?
Yeah, you still got those Vans, bro?
Like, I remember what you did last summer. That's a fucking crazy-ass story.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever ridden around Oceana.
Yeah,
down. So there used to be a bar down there. It was Bone Shakers.
Yeah.
So, and now it's like a Dunkin' Donuts, but Bone Shakers was right there, like on the corner of where Oceana is, and
it's another biker bar now.
What's that?
It's another bar again.
No, it's a Dunkin' Donuts.
Is it?
Right there in the corner, right on the corner, like right by the stoplights.
Okay.
And you turn right if you're at the lights, and then you'd head up towards Oceana or whatever. But if you take that road behind the 7-Eleven to get gas or whatever that runs parallel with Oceana, it's got like a big ravine or some shit on the side of it. And you used to ride your bike down there drunk after leaving that bar, and there'd always be a car in there. And you're like, I don't know why we take this fucking road. This seems stupid.
Yeah, that's the one that goes to the campground, right?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
It's got that big ass ditch with the water in there.
When they do the they call it the Virginia Beach Bike Classic, but we always call it the Virginia Beach Golf Cart Classic because there's more of the golf carts than fucking motorcycles.
Didn't they used to have an event by the National Guard unit that's right there too, towards the aquarium?
I'm not sure about that.
I thought they used to open up that guard base for some shit.
No, I know they used to do the Virginia Beach Bike Week or Bike Classic, but they stopped it for a while, and I think like 2 years ago they came back, but I don't think anybody really went to it.
No. Well, so, we talked a little bit about it. So when are you getting back into, when's your next club? What's your next club move going to be?
Nice try.
People are like, man, I saw him on his Instagram though. He moves in circles, but I think you bring up, a good point that we were kind of talking about earlier. I wanted to circle back to it. Clubs will rob you. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. But you talked about some of that freedom, the ability to kind of like, what am I paying dues for if guys aren't on the same level as me, or the fact that you do give up some of that freedom to go wherever with your son or your daughter or these trips that you want to take. And I think military guys in general, sometimes it's sexy. We want to jump into that shit. And, dudes need to think about everything that you were just talking about. Not only could you lose your Vans, but, you give up your freedom, like for everything, even in a good club, even in a legitimate club, like all this shit that you get in return, you're going to make a lot of sacrifices. And before you jump, and just be a miserable son of a bitch because you don't like the fact that you have to make these sacrifices to be a good club dude, understand that you're going to, this is the deal. Like, if you're going to wear this patch, you're going to make these sacrifices, and otherwise don't jump, just be a friend. I know, like you said, you've got tons of different kind of circles that you run in, and they all respect you. Everybody loves Jeremy because, it's real, and he's not going to blow smoke up your ass because you're smoking a cigarette right now. I'll wait for y'all to enjoy that joke. It's okay. But, I think people appreciate authenticity, which I practiced a really long time to say that word. But I think people appreciate authenticity versus somebody just trying to be in a club, like you said, to have an identity.
I think dudes just got to fucking really think about what are they gonna, what's their intent? You know what I mean? Like, what's your own personal intent out of that? You know what I mean? And are you willing to give what it takes? You know what I mean? Like, you can't, you have your fucking feet half in type shit,
Yeah, I mean, for like no shame here. I mean, he's in a large club up in, he just looks up. He's in a large club up in Washington, but he's a dad. He's a husband or a soon-to-be husband or whatever. I mean, that's balancing shit. Like, he goes to work every day too, or I'm assuming almost every day.
I barely go to work.
Well, like you said,
but in that token too, it's on the club side. It's are you putting in what you expect to receive out of it? You know what I mean? Like, it is a lot to take, but you can't, you can't half-ass this shit, with anything. So,
and I think always coming back to like those Army references just because it's easy, but it's like you need good club dudes that are like good NCOs that are like, hey man, can you, somebody like Jeremy's like balancing being a good dad and running his own business and all this shit. Like, can you do that and make the demands that the club has? And if you're a good leader in that club, if you're a good NCO, like you should be having that talk with dudes before they even jump up the prospect. Like, let's have this talk.
Exactly.
That was
that's a big part of it. It's a shame that some people get disenfranchised to it, because it's just like you have shitty Army units, you have shitty motorcycle clubs that don't do shit the right way. You got fucking douchebag NCOs that are toxic leaders, and you got fucking douchebag patch holders that don't bring up their prospects in the right way, and they don't create an environment that makes it conducive for everybody to function in. And that's like different chapters in like large nations. You'll find that it's all about like really finding what's good for you. And maybe it isn't a motorcycle club. Maybe it's just hanging out with like a solid group of people that you can ride with. For other people, it happens to be a motorcycle club. To each their own.
I can agree with you more.
And I think it's a common thread, like, I don't know. We certainly can share your personal Instagram if you want that out there for advertisement too. Like, obviously, we'll share the Deathwish one when we advertise this and shit like that. But something that you do is you talk about leaders in the military that had an impact on you. I've seen you like give them props or whatever, or when they make a new achievement, even though you're out going in and giving them that hug or that kudos or whatever. And I know somebody like No Shame or the other guys that do this page, guys in their clubs that had an impact on them, they talk about them and the impact that had. And I think people need to see that shit, because whether you're going to be an entrepreneur, a phone dropper, a club dude, like whatever the fuck you're going to be doing, if you don't have good dudes above you, like teaching you, lifting you up, you're going to be shit.
Definitely.
Did you want to drop it one more time real quick?
I'm trying, man. Listen, man, I got my daughter, I'm hiding in the garage. I told her I need some time. She had the charger all damn day long. And I'm like, fuck, I got to do this podcast. Now I don't have a fucking charger. So.
Yeah. If No Shame pulls a screenshot off of this for advertisement, I hope that it captures for people that gangland backdrop right now that we got going on with his face is all dark and silhouetted and shit. There's just like a small cigarette comes up once in a while.
Oh yeah.
I'm only doing clips of the phone falling because we got about 3 or 4 of them right now.
You got to keep it sketchy, man.
Have you ever dropped that thing while riding?
My bike?
No, the phone.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'd say these cases they make now though, like I don't know if you're riding on a motorcycle and don't have a good like OtterBox for your phone, you're fucking up. Because I've sent this thing down the interstate, been able to go dust it off, pick it up like no shit even happened.
Dude, I used to have this fucking my old bike. I had a Springer Softail. Was like all bobbed out, and I had nothing and shit. Like trying to take pictures or whatever, being a dumbass, and like set it between my legs. I used to drop that shit all the fucking time.
I remember like trying to like be like get those cool guy shots, like riding next to somebody, and you got it out, and all of a sudden like flies out of your hand, and, like hits your shoulder, and you're trying not to drop the bike and catch it at the same time.
And now it's
you know what the key?
Phones are so fucking big, you can't even operate them in your hand and shit. Like,
yeah.
The key to holding onto your phone, fucking pop socket. Everybody gives me shit. Bro, pop socket's where it's at.
Yeah, I think I just got to invest in a GoPro so I can leave my phone just mounted where it is.
No, that's too high class. Keep it ghetto. Phone with a pop socket.
I was thinking about just getting one of those magnetic cases. You just fucking slap it on your bars, your tank or whatever, and just let it ride like that.
What's that? Have you seen that is that a quad lock or whatever? Where it's like you just push it on. That shit, I'm like, dude, there's no way I would fuck that up. I would put that in there and it would go right down the road when I was driving. I was like, no way. And I feel like the same way about those ones. Like, there's a dude, Chris Osmond is?
No.
He's Osmond Designs. He's into motorcycles, but he was a Navy SEAL. I started like a tactical company like way back in the day or whatever. But he made a tank bag, and it's like you said, it's metallic. It sticks to the bag. You can put your phone in it. You can put emergency supplies and shit in it. But I was like, dude, no, I would never get. right down the road. Like I'm something to fuck up with that thing, and just right down the road, it would go.
Exactly.
So you mentioned like doing the business, owning the bar, going to work. You know, you're gonna be working in the shipyards and shit like that, balancing young kids. You know, doing this entrepreneur stuff. I mean, is that just like a work ethic that came from the fam? Is that something that was just in the DNA? Is that something you learned in the army? Is that just like, fuck it, I got to do it? I got to do it anyway.
I mean, I think a lot of it's the army and shit, but I don't know. I mean, like, not to sound corny and shit, like Deathwish isn't really about like, I mean, we do good in sales and shit, but it's not about the money, man. I was just like, I like being active in the motorcycle community. You know what I mean? Like,
but there's still a demand on your time that goes along with it, whether it's even about the money or not, getting out and keeping the name out there, supporting dudes that support you. Like you said, you've got these stunt riders or these sponsored events that you've put on and things like that. Like all of that takes your time, whether you're on your phone coordinating it, in person, riding there, whatever. Plus, like you said, if anybody that follows you on Instagram sees you doing stuff with your kids and like that, and you mentioned, these other businesses or jobs or whatever, and that's just not easy to balance.
Yeah, it's not at all. Just you gotta find time, I guess, man. It's people find time for what they're passionate about. You know what I mean? So
and I think you bring up a good point, like finding time for the stuff that you're passionate about. If somebody, vet, non-vet, whatever, doesn't even fucking matter, was just wanting to get into, being an entrepreneur with whether it's a brand style, a clothing line, whether, you talk about working on bikes and things like that, and maybe looking at opening up a shop. Somebody came to Jeremy and they're like, give me your best life advice for doing that shit. What are you telling them?
Well, what I would say first is
don't do it.
Definitely don't fucking. I've seen quite a few different brands and shit that go over with putting things on credit or trying put huge overhead first, man. And that's the biggest thing I would say is don't fucking drown yourself before you can even start to swim. You know what I mean? Like if it means starting simple and shit, you know what I mean? Like Instagram is my biggest thing, man. And it's so easy to sell shit and to spread it on there if you put the hustle in, you know what I mean? It's not worth, blowing your saving, or not necessarily blowing your savings, but putting yourself in debt to try to create something, you know what I mean? Like have that ready, have that able, so it's a loss already, you know what I mean? That you're not just fucking climbing uphill trying to, replenish your inventory or, make up for this or make up for that. Like, I think a lot of people fail at that.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a really great point. And I think when you and not everybody, I'm sure there's people that are obviously smarter than I am, but I think a lot of folks, their first thing would be like, well, how do I get people engaged in my brand? Instagram, going to shows, sponsoring people, whatever the case. And, how do I grow that base? And you're like, no, first you want to make sure that your finances are in order. Don't overextend yourself to something you can't get back from. And I think that's rad ass advice, because people might not consider that first. Like, well, if I have people, then I can spend the money. But it's like, make sure you're financially good first.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's been Jeremy's finance class 101.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I got lucky when I first started too, though, man, because I was on the Dynaholics like private page and shit. This is like when the Dyna scene was like first getting big and shit. And a lot of those dudes, man, they fucking, they helped me out, helped me promote my shit. Just, like I said earlier about, going out of state and meeting these dudes that you became, social media friends with. I was just fortunate enough that I had created at that right time and just had some really good people that were behind me and helped me spread the word. And it blew up really quick. You know what I mean? And yeah. I'm thankful for that. I really don't think that it would have grown as quickly as it did if it wasn't for that. But I guess it's part of that too, finding that initial niche or whatever it is to get it going too.
And I know we've kind of already talked about it, but I think people want to fuck with that, like in a good way. They see authenticity, they see humbleness, they see a dude that's, the quote, just a dude that's a dude. and they want to be
dudes
around
being
them.
dudes.
Yeah, it's just, just slapping dicks, like dudes just being dudes. Like people want to be around that. Like, there's dudes that, you're like, oh man, that guy looks really cool on Instagram. And then you meet him and you're like, oh, that guy's kind of a fucking tool. But when people see that you're humble or that you're real or whatever, they stroke your face a little bit. They're like, dude, I want to invest more time, more money. I want to support. I want to, whether it's just resharing, going to an event you throw, buying a T-shirt, whatever it is. I think dudes just they gravitate towards that, and they don't want to. I guess I'm kind of talking shit, but they don't necessarily want to support the brand Harley or Kurakin or some big ass. Thing. They want that grassroots shit to support, because it almost feels like, even though I can't do what Jeremy does, I feel like I'm a part of it, because he mirrors what I feel. He's he's got the same values that I do. So obviously we're cool. So I'm gonna buy from him, and I think people appreciate that more than your larger shit.
And that's the thing too, man. Like, when we had the bar and shit doing the bike nights, like I focused really heavy on the local scene more than I did online shit. And it was, like we'd have like after bike nights, like, just the random dudes and shit, the Hell Yeah brothers and shit, you know what I mean? Like, but we would put on group rides and shit, and like we would let everybody fucking ride with us, you know what I mean? Like, and that kind of plays into the sense of that we talked about the club that earlier, seeing that large masses. But it was just, I mean, I don't give a fuck who you are, what you ride, you know what I mean? If you want to ride and fucking get down, like, let's get down,
Yeah, I think that's a great slogan for a bar too. Is like, we'll never steal your vans.
I'm still salty about them vans, man.
Dude, I love that you shared that, and like that, you don't have to share any more details or anything like that. But if that's not the promo clip, like, I don't know what the fuck is. Like, I woke up and my fucking vans were gone.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate.
Hey, if you guys, as you hear more about Deathwish events in 2022, I think you need to bring Jeremy a pair of Vans, used, new, whatever. Like, go to Goodwill, whatever. Just get him, and like, just start bringing this man some Vans. That's what I'm going to advocate for out of this podcast.
Watch the next event we go to. There's just going to be a fucking plethora of Vans just sitting there, all shaped.
Hey, you know what? That big artist that you're trying to work out for the show, he or she, they might get underwear and bras and everything else thrown at him, but you got Vans getting thrown at you.
Hell yeah, dude. I mean, that's a come up. You know what I mean? If you're throwing Vans at me, I mean, that's pretty cool.
Well, like I said, we keep this to about an hour. We're at 58 minutes right now. So I'll let you get out of here. Obviously, fucking thank you for your time. I appreciate you just carving out an hour of your night to come bullshit with us for a little bit and let us do this.
Absolutely, man. I enjoyed it, man. It was a good time.
And like I said, we'll put all of your stuff into the advertisements and whatnot. Obviously, I'll hit you up and let you know when it's dropping. If you're taking a dump later on and you're like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have said anything about this or that, just let me know and we can fucking edit it out.
No, we'll let it all ride. I don't care.
Awesome. Then we'll let you go. And like I said, just thank you so much for your time.